Alright, let's get right into it. You've probably got the basics covered. You got the food, the water, the first aid kit. You followed the lists and you think you're ready. But what if I told you that in a real, long-term crisis, some of the most critical items are the ones nobody ever talks about? What if the line between just surviving and actually being stable comes down to a handful of things the mainstream survival guides always seem to miss? Look, everyone focuses on the big three: beans, bullets, and bandages. They stockpile rice, they get water filters, they have a trauma kit, and that's a fantastic start. That's your foundation. But a foundation is useless if you don't build a house on it. Real preparedness, the kind that gets you past the first week and into the months or even years of a new reality, is in the details. It's in the small, unassuming things that solve the problems that come after the initial chaos, when the world has fundamentally changed. Today, we're not talking about the obvious stuff. We're going past the basics. I'm about to share 12 items you have likely never thought to stockpile. These aren't flashy gadgets. A lot of them are boring. But each one solves a critical failure point that most people completely overlook. These are the items that will provide light when every battery is dead, preserve your food when the power has been out for months, and hold things together when the world outside is falling apart. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you will fundamentally change how you look at your stockpile. Number 1. Candle wick spool. Let's start with a direct question. What's your plan for light on day 100? You've got flashlights, but batteries die. You've got solar garden lights, but their internal batteries degrade and they need constant sun. Maybe you've stockpiled some candles. That's smart. But a standard candle burns for about 8 hours. If you burn just one for 4 hours a night, 100 candles are gone in less than a year. What happens on day 366? Here's the thing. Most people see a candle as a finished product. Once it's gone, it's gone. They stockpile the product, but not the ability to produce it. This is a critical error in long-term thinking. A grid-down scenario isn't a weekend camping trip, it's a total shift. Light isn't just a convenience, it's security, it's a productivity tool, and it's a huge psychological comfort. Trying to work, cook, or stand watch in total darkness is demoralizing and inefficient. This is where our first item comes in: a bulk spool of candle wick. I'm not talking about pre-cut wicks. I'm talking about a 100-yard spool of raw, braided cotton wick. One cheap spool is the key to basically limitless light. Why? Because the wax is the easy part. In a long-term situation, you'll find sources of fat and oil, leftover cooking grease, rendered animal fat, even old broken crayons. Any combustible fat becomes fuel. The one thing that's incredibly hard to improvise is a proper wick. A braided cotton wick is designed to draw fuel up and burn at a steady rate. A simple string will just sputter out or create a ton of smoke. A real wick eliminates that variable. With one 100-yard spool, you can make thousands of little lamps. A small tin of bacon grease and a 3-inch piece of wick can burn for hours. This one item turns a waste product, grease, into a critical resource. Light. It decouples you from depending on manufactured goods. Stockpiling candles is planning for a month. Stockpiling candle wick is planning for a generation. Number 2. Activated charcoal. This next one surprises a lot of people. It's one of the most versatile and overlooked substances out there: activated charcoal. And no, I'm not talking about the briquettes for your grill. This is a fine black powder that's been treated to have an insane surface area. A single gram can have a surface area of over 3,000 square meters. This surface area works through adsorption, where toxins and chemicals literally bind to its surface. So, what's the problem it solves? It solves a bunch of them, which is why it's so valuable. First, water. Your main filter, like a Sawyer or a Berkey, is great for bacteria. But what about chemicals? Pesticide runoff? Industrial pollutants? Many filters don't touch them. Activated charcoal excels at grabbing these chemical threats, which is why high-end filters use it. Having a bulk supply means you can build your own secondary filters or recharge existing ones, extending their life. Second, and this is critical, is first aid. When 911 isn't coming, accidental poisoning is a life or death situation. Someone eats the wrong berry. Someone eats food that's gone bad. Activated charcoal is still used in emergency rooms today for many types of oral poisoning. It can bind to the toxin in the stomach before the body absorbs it. It's not a cure-all, and you should always get professional help when you can, but having it on hand gives you an immediate option that you otherwise wouldn't have. Finally, think about sanitation. In a long-term lockdown, odors from waste and sickness can become overwhelming, attracting pests and crushing morale. Placing containers of it in a room can cut down on odors. A poultice of charcoal and water can help draw out an infection from a wound or bug bite. It's a water purifier, a poison treatment, and a sanitation tool in one black powder. Most preppers have a filter and a first aid kit. The advanced prepper has a bag of activated charcoal to back them both up. Number 3. Altoid tins, or small metal containers. This third item might seem silly, but its usefulness is no joke. Empty Altoid tins. In any survival situation, especially a bug-out where every inch of your pack matters, organizing your small, critical items is paramount. Tiny essentials have a way of getting lost, crushed, or soaked when they're just floating around in your pocket. Picture this. You need a fire in a downpour. Your ferro rod is in your pocket, but your tinder is a soggy, useless clump at the bottom of your pack. Or you need a fishing hook, but it's now embedded in your thumb because it was loose in a pouch. The problem is a lack of durable pocket-level organization. Plastic baggies rip, cardboard boxes turn to mush. Enter the Altoid tin. These things are robust. They're metal, they have a hinged lid that snaps shut, and they are the perfect size for micro-survival kits. One tin can be your dedicated fire kit. A small ferro rod, striker, waterproof tinder, and a mini lighter fit perfectly. You can even make charcloth in the tin itself by punching a small hole in the lid and putting it in a fire. A second tin becomes a pocket fishing kit. Wrap some line around a piece of cardboard, add hooks, weights, and a few lures. It's enough to catch a meal. A third tin? A mini first aid kit with butterfly bandages, alcohol wipes, antibiotic ointment, pain relievers, and a razor blade. It's not a trauma kit, but it handles the common cuts that can get you into trouble. The beauty of this is modularity. You can build a dozen specialized kits and just grab what you need. They protect their contents and are mostly waterproof. They are the building blocks of a truly organized system. So next time you finish a tin of mints, don't toss it. You're throwing away one of the best micro-organizers a prepper can have. Number 4. Canning supplies. Pectin, pickling salt, funnels, jar lifters. Most preppers get the importance of food. Many have even started gardening. But this creates a new, massive problem that almost everyone underestimates: food preservation. A garden doesn't give you a neat serving of food each day, it gives you a glut. Suddenly you have 40 pounds of tomatoes that are all ripe right now. Without a fridge, that food spoils in days. The common solution is to stockpile canning jars and lids. Excellent. But that's like buying a car and forgetting the key. The jars are just the container. To safely preserve that harvest, you need the other canning supplies. Specifically, things like pectin, pickling salt, and the right tools like funnels and jar lifters. Let's break it down. Pectin is what makes jams and jellies set. Without it, your attempt at preserving berries will just be a runny, sugary syrup. Stockpiling pectin lets you turn fruit into a high-energy, morale-boosting food that lasts for years. Next, pickling salt. You can't just use table salt. Table salt has iodine and anti-caking agents that will turn your pickles a nasty color and make your brine cloudy. Pickling salt is pure sodium chloride. It ensures a crisp pickle and a clear brine. Salt is one of the oldest preservatives, and having the right kind is non-negotiable for this. Finally, the tools. A wide-mouth canning funnel seems minor, but when you're ladling hot liquid into dozens of jars, it's the difference between an efficient process and a sticky, wasteful mess. And a jar lifter? This is a safety issue. These tongs are designed to grip hot, wet jars from a boiling water bath. Trying to use regular tongs is a recipe for serious burns and broken jars of lost food. Having a garden is only half the battle. The other half is turning that harvest into shelf-stable calories. The mainstream lists tell you to get jars. The experienced prepper knows that true food security is also in the pectin, the right salt, and the proper tools. Number 5. Propane fill adapter. In preparedness, redundancy and resourcefulness are king. A lot of preppers rely on those little 1-pound green propane canisters for their stoves and heaters. They're convenient, but they are incredibly inefficient and expensive. In a crisis, they'll disappear from shelves instantly. This creates a dangerous single point of failure. You might have a full 20-pound propane tank for your grill, But that fuel is useless for your small appliances. It's a classic water everywhere, but not a drop to drink scenario. You're bottlenecked by the container. The solution is a small, cheap brass tool, a propane fill adapter. This simple device lets you safely refill your 1-pound canisters from a standard 20-pound tank. This one tool fundamentally changes your fuel situation. It transforms you from a consumer, dependent on a fragile supply chain, into a producer with control over your fuel. Think about it. A 20-pound tank holds the same as 20 of the small canisters. Instead of paying $5 to $7 for each disposable one, you're refilling them for a fraction of the cost. In a long-term scenario, this adapter is priceless. You can consolidate fuel from half-empty tanks. You can keep all your small appliances topped off and ready. A single 20-pound tank that might last a weekend on a big grill can be decanted to provide weeks of fuel for a high-efficiency stove. The process is straightforward, though you have to be careful and do it outdoors. Owning this adapter is a force multiplier for your fuel preps. It's the missing link. While other people are staring at their empty green canisters, you'll have the simple tool to bridge the gap and keep cooking. Number 6, hand sewing kit, heavy duty. We buy durable gear, the tough bug-out bag, the waterproof jacket, the rugged boots. We invest in quality because our gear is our lifeline. But here's the problem. 99% of people never plan for. Gear fails. Seams split, zippers break, packs tear. A simple gear failure can become a catastrophe. A torn backpack could mean losing supplies. A rip in your only jacket in the cold rain could lead to hypothermia. The mainstream solution is maybe a tiny, hotel giveaway sewing kit. That is laughably inadequate. Those have flimsy thread and a tiny needle meant for a shirt button, not for repairing a nylon backpack. That's like trying to fell a tree with a butter knife. The truly overlooked item is a robust, heavy-duty hand sewing kit and the knowledge to use it. I'm not talking about a sewing machine, I'm talking about gear first aid. Here's what a real kit looks like. First, an assortment of heavy-duty needles, including curved upholstery needles. Curved needles are essential for repairs where you can't get to the backside, like a backpack strap. Second, strong thread. Not cotton, you need bonded nylon or polyester upholstery thread. Better yet, a spool of unwaxed dental floss or braided fishing line makes for an incredibly strong repair thread. Third, a sewing awl. This tool punches holes in thick materials like leather or heavy canvas, allowing you to pass the needle and thread through. Fourth, patch materials. Save scraps from old jeans or canvas bags. Being able to repair your gear is not a hobby, it's a fundamental survival skill. In a world where you can't just buy a new jacket, the one you have is priceless. This small, forgotten kit empowers you to maintain your most critical assets indefinitely. Alright, let's pause right there. We're halfway through, and we've covered 6 items that are almost certainly not on the typical prepper checklist. We've talked about the candle wick spool for endless light, activated charcoal as a multi-purpose backup, Altoid tins for micro-organization, advanced canning supplies to actually preserve your harvest, the propane fill adapter to unlock your own fuel, and a heavy-duty sewing kit to keep your gear alive. These items represent a shift in mindset from just consuming preps to producing and maintaining them. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. How many of these 6 did you already have? Which one was the biggest aha moment for you? I read all the comments, and the community here is one of the best resources for finding more of these ideas. And look, I know how overwhelming this can all feel. That's why I've put together a completely free guide that reveals how to turn just $50 into a 90-day food supply. It's a simple, proven plan I've developed over the years. The link is in the description below and in the pinned comment. Just click it and let me know where to send your copy. Alright, let's get back to the list. Number 7. Extra gas mask filters. For anyone thinking about higher-level threats, wildfire smoke, industrial accidents, civil unrest, a gas mask can feel like the ultimate prep. You buy a good mask, store it, and feel secure. The problem is, you've only bought half the system. The mask itself is just a face piece. The magic, the part that actually filters the air, is the canister. And that canister is a consumable item. It has a finite lifespan, both on the shelf and in use. This is a critical failure point that thousands of preppers ignore. They own a $500 mask and a single 10-year-old filter. In a real event, that mask might be useless in hours. The overlooked item isn't the mask, but a stockpile of new, sealed, in-date replacement filters rated for the threats you anticipate. Think of it like this. A rifle is useless without ammunition. The filter is the ammunition for your gas mask. Here's why stockpiling them is so important. First, shelf life. Filters degrade over time, even sealed. Most have an expiration date. An expired filter is a gamble you don't want to take. Second, operational life. Once you unseal a filter, the clock starts ticking. In a contaminated environment, that clock speeds up. A filter might only last for a few hours. If you only have one, you have at best a few hours of clean air. What's your plan for hour 9? Or day 2? You need multiple filters per person. Research the types of P100 is for particulates, but not chemical vapors. A CBRN filter offers broader protection. Store them sealed in a cool, dry place. A gas mask with one filter is a single-use prep. A mask with 10 replacement filters is a sustainable survival system. Number 8. Heavy-duty trash bags. This next item is so common that its survival utility is almost invisible. We're talking about trash bags, but not the flimsy white kitchen bags. I'm talking about thick, heavy-duty, 3mm or even 6mm contractor-grade trash bags. These are the unsung multi-tools of the prepping world. A roll of these is a compressed survival kit. The problem they solve is the unexpected need for a barrier against water, wind, and contamination. In any survival situation, your ability to create a barrier between you and the elements is fundamental. Let's just list the uses. Need an instant poncho? Cut a hole for your head and arms. It's not stylish, but it'll keep you dry and prevent hypothermia. Need a shelter? Split the seams, and you have a waterproof tarp for a lean-to. Need to cross water? Use one as a waterproof pack liner, or put your whole pack inside and tie it shut. Need a dry place to sleep? Lay one on the damp ground. Need to collect water? Spread it out for a rainwater catch. The list goes on and on. They are lightweight, compact, and cheap. A roll of 25 contractor bags gives you 25 ponchos, 25 tarps, 25 water collectors. Most people see them as just trash bags. The prepared individual understands a roll of these is one of a flexible, overlooked tools in their arsenal. Number 9. 5-gallon buckets. If the contractor bag is the most versatile, flexible item, the 5-gallon bucket is its rigid counterpart. You see stacks of them at the hardware store for a few bucks. Preppers see them for what they are, probably the single most important rigid container for long-term survival. The number one problem these buckets solve is one that makes people uncomfortable: sanitation. When the toilets stop flushing, what's your plan for human waste? Improperly handled waste leads to disease. It contaminates water. It's one of the fastest ways for a situation to devolve into a public health crisis. The solution is the twin bucket toilet. It's simple. One bucket for urine. The second bucket is lined with a bag for solid waste. After each use, you add a scoop of carbon material like sawdust or shredded cardboard. This controls odor and starts composting. With a snap-on toilet seat lid, you have a safe, sustainable sanitation system. This alone makes buckets worth their weight in gold. But that's just the start. They are phenomenal for storage. Paired with a Mylar bag and an oxygen absorber, a 5-gallon bucket is the gold standard for long-term storage of rice, beans, and wheat. They're your water transportation system. They can be used for washing clothes. You can sit on them. You can use them for container gardening. The list is nearly endless. They are stackable, durable, and cheap. Don't underestimate the humble 5-gallon bucket. Number 10. Heirloom seeds. This next item gets to the very heart of long-term sustainability. A lot of preppers have bought a survival seed vault and they feel secure. But a huge percentage of them have made a critical, potentially fatal mistake. They don't know the difference between hybrid seeds and heirloom seeds. Here's the problem. Most commercially available seeds are F1 hybrids. A hybrid is made by cross-pollinating two different plants to get specific traits, like higher yield. Your first harvest from these will be fantastic, but if you save the seeds from that harvest and plant them next year, you're in for a rude awakening. The new plants will either be sterile or they won't grow true to type. This means your seed vault is a 1-year-only solution. It's a dead end. Your food independence plan will fail after 1 season. The solution, our 10th item, is to stockpile 100% heirloom, open-pollinated seeds. Heirloom seeds have been passed down for generations. Because they're open-pollinated, they are genetically stable. Here's the key. When you save seeds from an heirloom plant, you get a plant with the exact same traits, year after year. This is the difference between having a fish and knowing how to fish. A hybrid seed vault is one meal. An heirloom seed vault is a lifetime of food. It represents true sovereignty. You can adapt your crops to your local climate over time by saving seeds from your hardiest plants. When you buy seeds, look for the words heirloom and open-pollinated. Avoid anything labeled F1 hybrid if your goal is long-term seed saving. This isn't just about having a garden next spring, it's about ensuring your great-grandchildren can have one too. Number 11. Favorite candy bars, hard candy. Okay, this next one is going to sound frivolous to the hardcore beans and bullets guys, but stick with me. In a long-term crisis, this is one of the most powerful psychological tools you can have. The item is candy. Specifically, a deep stockpile of your family's favorite hard candies or chocolate bars. The problem we're solving here isn't calories, it's a mental and emotional collapse. A long-term disaster is a relentless grind of stress, fear, and hard work. Morale is not a luxury, it is a critical resource that you have to manage, just like food or water. When morale breaks, people get depressed, they make mistakes, and groups fall apart. In that environment, a small moment of pleasure, a tiny taste of the before times, can have a huge psychological impact. Think about a terrified kid. A single Jolly Rancher isn't just sugar, it's a moment of comfort, a signal that things can still be okay. Think about someone who just finished a grueling task. A small candy bar is a tangible reward that can boost their spirits. This is about using small comforts as a strategic tool. It's a way to de-escalate tension, comfort people, and reward good behavior. Hard candies like lemon drops or butterscotch can last for years. This is a profound misunderstanding of human psychology. People don't live by bread alone. A stockpile of food will keep you alive. A hidden stash of candy might be the thing that keeps your spirit alive. Don't underestimate it. Number 12. Books, puzzles, and board games. Our final item addresses the same core problem: mental and emotional survival. The problem is the crushing weight of idle time in a world without electricity. After a grid-down event, the days will be filled with work, but the nights will be long, dark, and empty. No internet, no TV, no video games. This sudden, profound boredom can be a form of psychological torture. The overlooked prep is a non-powered entertainment and education library. I'm talking about books, puzzles, and board games. This isn't about fun and games, it's about actively managing the mental health of your group. Let's start with books. You need novels for escapism, but your library must also be a functional library. Stockpile reference books on gardening, herbal medicine, first aid, knot tying, and carpentry. In a world without Google, these physical books become your most valuable information source. Next, jigsaw puzzles. They are a fantastic tool for a quiet, meditative task that can calm an anxious mind. Finally, and maybe most importantly, board games and playing cards. A deck of cards offers hundreds of hours of social interaction. Board games like chess or Scrabble force people to engage with each other in a structured, positive way. This is critical for maintaining social bonds. When people are stressed, these games can be a pressure release valve. The prepper who only plans for physical challenges will find their group falling apart from the inside. The wise prepper knows you have to stockpile the tools to keep minds occupied and spirits up. Your library of games is just as important as your pantry of food. So there you have it. 12 items that don't make the mainstream lists. A candle wick spool, activated charcoal, Altoid tins, specialized canning supplies, a propane fill adapter, a heavy-duty sewing kit, extra gas mask filters, contractor trash bags, 5-gallon buckets, heirloom seeds, morale-boosting candy, and a library of non-powered entertainment. If you look back at this list, a clear theme emerges. It's about moving beyond being a consumer of preps and becoming a producer, a repairman, a sustainer. It's about thinking through the second and third order consequences of a crisis. What happens when the lights really go out? What happens when the gear fails? What happens when the boredom and despair become as dangerous as the lack of food? True preparedness isn't a checklist you complete, it's a mindset. It's about identifying hidden failure points and finding practical, sustainable solutions. The items on this list are keys to unlocking a higher level of resilience. They are the details that make all the difference. If this video has challenged you to think differently about your own preps, then do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you are subscribed and you've clicked the notification bell, because we are always diving deep into the practical strategies that the mainstream channels miss. The time to prepare is now. Think beyond the obvious. Stay safe out there, stay smart, and stay prepared.